Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the news from Saba Satellite Channel from Marim. Let's begin with the headlines.
President Al-Alimi discusses Yemen's recent developments with U.S. Ambassador.
Hadramaut governor calls for STC withdrawal, confirms UAE forces pull out.
Organization of Islamic Cooperation reaffirms support for Yemen's unity, condemns unilateral moves undermining legitimacy and peace.
Welcome back into the details. Turning now to the political and security developments, the President of the Presidential Leadership Council has outlined the seriousness of the current situation during high-level talks with Dr. Rashad Mohammed Al-Alimi, President of the Presidential Leadership Council, met with Stephen Fagan, the United States Ambassador to Yemen, to discuss recent developments and their security and economic implications, particularly in Hadramaut and Al-Mahra. President Al-Alimi stressed that the challenge facing the state is not a political disagreement, but an armed mutiny against state authority and the agreed transitional framework, warning it risks turning Yemen into a broader source of regional instability. He noted that the unilateral actions have undermined counterterrorism priorities, enabled Houthi regrouping, and created space for extremist groups, stressing that counterterrorism is a sovereign responsibility exercised solely by state institutions. The President reaffirmed Yemen's commitment to a just solution to the southern cause through dialogue and popular will, rejecting any attempt to impose outcomes by force. Ambassador Fagan reaffirmed U.S. support for Yemen's unity, stability, and efforts toward a comprehensive and lasting peace.
As part of his continued oversight of developments across the governorates, the President of the Presidential Leadership Council reviewed the situation in Shabwa following recent tensions in eastern Yemen. Dr. Rashad Mohammed Al-Alimi, President of the Presidential Leadership Council, was briefed on Wednesday on the overall situation in Shabwa Governorate in the wake of recent developments in the eastern governorates. President Al-Alimi received an update from Shabwa Governor Awad Mohammed bin Al-Wazir on security and service conditions, the readiness of local authorities to maintain stability, and measures taken to protect sovereign facilities and public interests, and to deter any potential threats. He reaffirmed the state's commitment to supporting local authorities in carrying out their constitutional duties in coordination with security and military institutions, praised the national role of Shabwa's residents, and stressed that the governorate will remain a key priority for the state given its economic and national importance.
Yemen's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates Shaya' Mohsin Al-Zandani met today with U.S. Ambassador to Yemen Stephen Fagan to discuss bilateral relations between the two friendly countries. Minister Al-Zandani praised the United States for its continued support for the Yemeni government and its commitment to confronting the Houthi threat and supporting efforts to achieve security and stability in Yemen.
The governor of Hadramaut Governorate, Salim Ahmed Al-Khambashi, has called on forces affiliated with the Southern Transitional Council to leave Hadramaut and to return to the positions they came from outside the governorate. The governor stressed that the local authority is committed to resolving the situation through peaceful and political means in a way that safeguards security and stability across the province. In a message addressed to the people of Hadramaut, Al-Khambashi said sustained efforts have been made in coordination with Saudi Arabia and the state leadership to ensure a smooth and orderly withdrawal of the recently deployed forces. While acknowledging delays in response, he expressed optimism that conditions would soon return to normal. He also urged Homeland Shield Forces, the Hadrami Elite Forces and security services to secure public and private property and prevent any security vacuum. In a related development, the governor conferred that forces affiliated with the United Arab Emirates have begun withdrawing from their positions in Hadramaut and Shabwa, including the start of pull-out procedures from Al Rayyan Airport.
The Federal Republic of Germany has renewed its commitment to the unity of the Republic of Yemen. as well as to its sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity, and reaffirmed its support for the Presidential Leadership Council and the Yemeni government. Germany's ambassador to Yemen, Thomas Schneider, said in a post on the platform X, Germany remains committed to the unity, sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of Yemen, and to the Presidential Leadership Council and the government of Yemen. This renewed statement is consistent with Germany's long-standing position on Yemen. Berlin has repeatedly emphasized its firm support for Yemen's internationally recognized institutions and rejected any actions that undermine the country's unity or fragment its territory.
In growing regional reactions to the latest developments in Yemen, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation has issued a clear and firm position backing Yemen's unity and internationally recognized leadership. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation has reaffirmed its unwavering support for Yemen's sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity, rejecting any actions that undermine constitutional legitimacy or state institutions. In a statement, OIC Secretary General Hussein Ibrahim Taha stressed the organization's full support for Yemen's internationally recognized leadership, headed by the President of the Presidential Leadership Council and the government. He condemned unilateral moves by the Southern Transitional Council, warning they threaten Yemen's unity, obstruct peace efforts, and prolong the conflict, with broader implications for regional stability. The OIC chief also emphasized that the security of Saudi Arabia is a red line for the Islamic world, reaffirming full solidarity with the kingdom in protecting its national security. The statement called on all Yemeni parties to uphold legitimacy, reject violence, and prioritize dialogue toward a comprehensive and lasting political solution.
Yemen's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates has welcomed statements by all friendly countries, along with regional and international organizations, reaffirming full support for Yemen's unity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. The ministry praised the pivotal role of Saudi Arabia in supporting Yemen's security and regional stability. In this context, Egypt affirmed full confidence in the wisdom of Saudi and Emirati leaderships in addressing developments in Yemen and stressing continued coordination to de-escalate tensions and advance a comprehensive political settlement. Pakistan also renewed its support for Yemen's unity and territorial integrity, rejected any unilateral steps that could escalate tensions, and reaffirmed solidarity with Saudi Arabia, stressing commitment to dialogue and diplomacy as the path to lasting peace. Qatar renewed its backing for Yemen's legitimate government, underscoring that the security of Saudi Arabia and GCC states is inseparable from regional security, and reaffirmed its commitment to dialogue and diplomacy. Similarly, Kuwait and Bahrain stressed the importance of preserving Yemen's unity and territorial integrity, praising the responsible approach in supporting regional stability. Meanwhile, Oman called for restraint and consensual political solutions through dialogue to Yemen to serve Yemen's interests and regional security. For its part, Jordan reaffirmed support for Yemen's constitutional legitimacy and de-escalation efforts, while Somalia expressed firm solidarity with Yemen and Saudi Arabia, stressing that Yemen's stability is vital to Red Sea and regional security.
Questions are intensifying over the role of the United Arab Emirates in Yemen and its support for the Southern Transitional Council, which officials say has fueled instability and weakened state authority, particularly in Hadramaut and Al-Mahra, deepening divisions and complicating efforts to preserve Yemen's unity and stability. More details in this report.
Since the formation of the Arab coalition, led by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in early 2015, millions of Yemenis pinned their hopes on its ability to play a constructive role in restoring the state and its institutions from the Houthi control, paving the way for a return to a normal life after the armed coup carried out by the Houthi group in late 2014. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has played a decisive and leading role that has not been limited to the military dimension alone, but has also included political and diplomatic support for legitimacy, as well as efforts to mobilize regional and international backing to the legitimate government. As a member of that coalition, the United Arab Emirates played a central role in shaping its policies and directing its military operations over the past decade. However, the role of the United Arab Emirates in Yemen has long exceeded the declared objectives of the Arab coalition. What has unfolded on the ground in Hadramaut and Al-Mahra points to a calculated strategy aimed at domination and destabilization, a strategy focused on Yemen's unity and sovereignty. For years, the United Arab Emirates' intervention in Yemen has followed a clear and deliberate pattern, constructing parallel centers of power outside the authority of Yemeni state through sustained funding, training, and arming of militias loyal not to the Republic but to external patrons. Abu Dhabi has worked systematically to hollow out state institutions from within. The forces affiliated with the Southern Transitional Council were not created to protect civilians or restore order. They were designed as instruments of pressure, disruption, and coercion, activated whenever the state attempts to reassert its authority. This policy has inflicted direct damage on Yemen's already fragile political landscape. Instead of consolidating efforts against existential threats facing the country, Emirati-backed forces repeatedly turned their weapons inward, staging armed rebellions against legitimate institutions, seizing government facilities, and imposing fait accompli by force. The result has been a cycle of instability deliberately sustained to ensure that no unified sovereign Yemeni authority can emerge. From Aden to Abiyan, from Shabwa to Socotra, the pattern has been unmistakable. Armed takeovers, mutinies against the state, paralysis of public institutions, and intimidation of civilians, often unfolding under the direct supervision or tacit approval of Abu Dhabi. The objective has been equally clear: keep southern Yemen in a permanent state of turbulence, rendering national recovery impossible. The arrival of a new weapon shipment to Mukalla port is not an isolated incident, nor can it be dismissed as routine logistics. It is a stark and deliberate signal that the UAE remains intent on fueling instability in Yemen's eastern regions, undermining every prospect for calm or recovery. The time has come to abandon euphemisms and diplomatic evasions. The chaos gripping Yemen's liberated areas is not inevitable, nor is it homegrown. It is manufactured. It is sustained, and it is enabled by the regional factor that has chosen militias over the state and fragmentation over unity.
For continuous updates, stay with Saba Satellite Channel. Thank you for watching and have a good time.